Запрошуємо до слова полковника Максима Прауту, речника Міністерства оборони України.
Now the floor is given to Colonel Maksym Prauta, Ministry of Defense of Ukraine spokesperson. During the last 24 hours, and as of today's morning, the 25th of April, the situation is like this. During the last 24 hours, the militants of occupation administrations of Russian Federation significantly intensified their activity at the line of contact. Enemy actively used artillery and mortars that are the calibers of which are prohibited by the Minsk agreements. Unfortunately, there are casualties among the forces. In the Lugansk sector, 20 precision enemy shellings were recorded. First shelling happened with the use of grenade launchers and small arms at 7, and it was in the region of Valuiska. The rest enemy shellings were recorded after 1:30 p.m. until midnight. 120mm mortars prohibited by the Minsk agreements were used by the militants of occupation administrations of Russian Federation. Twice they were used against the defenders of Novolugansk, and 3 times near Troitsk, and 5 times against defenders of Lugansk. Also, our servicemen near Novolugansk, Lugansk, Troitsk, and Novoselivka repeatedly came under enemy shelling with the use of 82mm mortars. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Lugansk sector, the occupants launched about 200 mines with 120 and 82mm mortars. Starting from 7:45 for 20 minutes, the enemy made 15 shots using 122mm artillery on the defenders of Lugansk. Shellings with the use of IFV's weaponry were delivered by the enemy in the regions of Lugansk, Krymsk, and Troitsk, and the region of Novogorodsk. Yesterday in the evening, enemy sniper fire was recorded twice. Moreover, near Lugansk, after 7 p.m., once again, provocative enemy shelling with the use of large caliber machine guns was delivered from the side of Prince Igor Hill, was recorded, and such intentional periodic shellings delivered by the militants of occupation administrations of Russian Federation prevent disengagement of forces and hardware of sides in this area. In the Donetsk sector yesterday, 49 precision shellings in the direction of our forces were recorded with 120mm mortars. The enemy delivered fire at our positions of Vodene, Novotroitsk, Lomakina, Gnutova, Peshevik with 82mm mortars. The enemy delivered fire twice in the region of Shirokina and Vodene, and also in the region of Lomakina. At that, after 8 p.m. for half hour, Russian occupants delivered 5 shots with 122mm artillery on defenders of Lomakina, that is in Primorsky sector of our defense. Multiple shellings of our positions with use of grenade launchers of different types, large caliber machine guns and small arms, during the last 24 hours were recorded near Peshevik, Avdiivka, Lebedinska, Talakivka, Pavlopil, Kamenka, Vodene, Shirokina, Lomakina, Mariinka, Novotroitska, Gnutova, Novomikhailivka, Krasnogorivka, Pervomaiska, and also against our defenders of Budivka mine. Shellings with the use of IV weaponry were delivered by enemy on defenders of Gnutova, Peshevik, Vodene. In the region of Talakivka, Shirokina, and twice against defenders of Pavlopil, enemy snipers were active. On the whole, during the last 24 hours, on the 24th of April, 69 precision enemy shellings were recorded. These shellings were delivered by Russian occupation forces. The militants of occupation administrations of Russian Federation made 20 shots with the use of 122mm artillery and launched more than 260 mines with mortars of 120 and 82mm of calibers. Using service infantry weapons that is not prohibited by the Minsk agreements. Ukrainian servicemen more than 30 times returned fire to preserve lives and the health of military personnel. In the result of enemy shelling, 7 servicemen were injured, 2 more were traumatized in action. Moreover, in the course of engineering support works, in the result of explosion of unknown explosive device, 2 servicemen were injured. All the wounded servicemen were brought to medical hospitals. The health condition of 2 servicemen is heavy, 3 of mid-severity, and 6 defenders are in satisfactory condition. Now, about current situation today, on the 25th of April, starting midnight as of 9 a.m. today, militants of Russian occupation forces delivered 12 precision shellings. This night was hard for our defenders. The occupants used multiple launch missile systems and actively delivered fire with the use of mortars. In the Lugansk sector today, from midnight, 2 precision shellings have been recorded, starting 2 a.m. for 1 hour, then delivered shelling of defenders of Novoselivka using 82mm mortars, IFV weaponry, and grenade launchers and machine guns. From 6:45 on defenders of the Lugansk, the enemy delivered fire with the use of multiple launch missile system, and this is BM-21 Grad. The enemy launched 12 missiles, and also the enemy delivered the shelling with the use of 122mm mortars and grenade launchers in the Donetsk sector starting midnight today. On the 25th of April, 10 precision shellings have been recorded. The enemy used 120 and 82mm mortars, and the enemy delivered fire at our positions at the region of Verkhny-Toretsk, Vodene, Putivka mine, and 4 times on the defenders of Avdiivka. Provocative shellings also were made with the use of large caliber machine guns, small arms. The enemy delivered fire near Shirokina, Avdiivka, and Gnutova. Starting from midnight as of 9 today, the militants of occupation administrations launched at our defenders 12 missiles using Grads and 80 mines using 120 and 82mm mortars. According to information provided by the main intelligence department of the Ministry of Defense of Ukrainian units and large units of so-called 1st and 2nd Army Corps of Russian occupation forces, the problem with the manning of the units and military personnel deepens. Primarily, this is connected with the dissatisfaction of the militants with conditions of their service, and this results in AWOL and discharge after completion of the contracts. Commanders of some military units of occupation forces, in order to man their units, recruit for military service without fitness checks and without infectious diseases checks. And in one of so-called military units of the 1st Army Corps, there are 80 servicemen who are ill with TB. At the same time, the order was provided by the command of Army Corps, and they cannot discharge the servicemen from so-called military service based on their state of health, and there is an outflow of human resources from the 1st and 2nd Army Corps of Russian occupation forces, and the commander of Russian occupation forces tried to reinforce the group of Russian occupation forces by forming in temporarily occupied territories of the Donetsk Oblast to form additional military formations, including Azov Cossack forces. And Russian curators form such a Cossack movement, and they recruit among local population and among former servicemen. In Rostov Oblast, they organized the training for commanders and recruitment of so-called volunteers among Russian Federation citizens and citizens of Ukraine who temporarily stay in the territory of Russian Federation. As an incentive for the candidates, they promise social package and the salary of 18,000 rubles, and that they will serve in rear regions of the temporarily occupied territories. But at the same time, Russian Occupation Command plan to to include two Cossack regiments, assault battalions, and that are armed with artillery and multiple launch missile fire. So Russian Occupation Command planned to involve Cossack regiments in the dangerous sectors, and information for the representatives of mass media. We inform that in connection with the change of the format of the operation in the east of Ukraine, there is an information that is made public on the official site of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. This is the order of cooperation with journalists who work in the area of joint forces operation. If there are no questions, thank you.